Hello, Allegheny Trail friends. How we doing out there tonight? Got a great episode for you. Got some updates, got some housekeeping, super special guest tonight. Uh, Obviously, I want to introduce Justin, my co-host, Section 4 coordinator and vice president of the Allegheny Trail and the governing body with Vista on that. We also have Julie, Jester, Gayheart with us tonight. Let's kick off a few updates, what we got going on. We can talk about some trail work days we've been having, Justin, things happening throughout the trail, as well as a couple challenges, some big party events, and Julie's got a couple things up her sleeve tonight, too, she wants to reveal on behalf of the trail. So what's been going on with you in your section, Justin?
Well, I've been working up on 4 North the last 3 weekends or so. I've been clearing south of the Ram Shelter, getting that section ready to go for this summer. It's been a notoriously troublesome section for a lot of hikers, and it's just difficult to access. And just getting up there is a challenge with the forest roads and how rough the roads are. But fortunately, I've had some time to get up there. We've been clearing out blowdowns, brush, and blazing that section. So that'll definitely improve in Section 4 for this coming hiking season.
Nice. So when you say we, is that you and Molly? I know you've got some trail friends down there.
Yeah, it's been me, Molly. My wife's come up with me. She's rode up to the top of the field. She's kind of just sat out there and kind of been the camp cook for me. I've been up there. So it's just been just mostly me and my wife Tiffany up there. And of course, Molly's been with me every time. So
awesome. Well, we appreciate you and having that all go on. We had a big event this past weekend up in Section 1 called Spring the Trail, and that's helping prep for the big Cheat Fest. It's a big festival, a kayaking festival, and to even get to view any of that race, you have to walk on the Allegheny Trail. So we partnered with Friends of Cheat at a 3-day work event up here. A couple new kiosks out there for you guys and listeners. Couple new, we got a new trailhead in, lots of maintenance. We had, I think it was maybe 15, 16 volunteers come out for 3 days and put in 10-hour days. I mean, come on, right? There's massive improvements with that. So excited to go up and actually check some of that out myself because I couldn't make that one. But Julie, let's pop up if you don't mind. Some of these volunteers are actually putting hours in of work and hiking for the 50 on 50 challenge. So we've got several people cranking their way up. Again, the 50-50 challenge, for those of you that are new, it's 50 hours you can donate of volunteer time. Doesn't have to be on trail. It could be the camp cook. It could be administrative help. Or you could do 50 miles on the trail, or you could do a combo. And so you go to our website, you hop on the store, you buy the 50-50 challenge for $10.50, and you get some really cool swag. I don't have it with me tonight. It's my fault. But basically, you get some one-of-a-kind stickers that Marissa helped create and design. Tiffany, Justin's wife, helped design a lightweight sport towel. Don't worry, ultralighters, it's for you. I swear it's super light. And we've got a koozie and a cork coaster. So that's pretty cool if you're interested in that stuff. And while we're on the housekeeping, we've got our 50th anniversary coming up in September. So that's September 6th, 7th, and 8th in the middle of nowhere, almost the trail. Your cell phone will not work, and that's the point. But that's at Green Bank Observatory coming up, and you can find all those resources in the show notes as well as on our website. Go to hikethealleghenytrail.org. And then, Julie, let's turn it over to you and a couple of little pieces of magic you have up your sleeve.
I don't know about magic, but I guess we'll call it that. But good evening, everybody. Julie Gayheart here, or Jester. There are one thing I want to say. Actually, I have 3 things. But the first thing I want to say, and I have failed to do this every time that we have had a show, I have been doing some research and some investigating, and I have concluded that the Allegheny Trail Podcast is the first podcast every Allegheny Trail supporter, hiker, community person, business should be proud of the fact that this is the only podcast by a trail organization. So there are a lot of board members from other trails. They go on other podcasts. They are guests, but they don't actually host a consistent podcast each month, giving individuals information about the trail, sharing what's going on in the state, West by God, Virginia. So I am proud to be part of the first trail organization that I can find that actually has their own consistent podcast. So I'm really proud to be part of that. And I already screwed up the episode because I had this picture showing right when we went on. And there is a new medal in town by Hiker Medals. And Nicolle, you want to chat about that for a second?
Sure, we're super excited about this. Partnering with Hiker Metals is just an amazing opportunity. For those of you that don't know, hikermetals.com, check it out. They've got their podcast as well. We want to support them where we can. Justin, why don't you I'll turn this over to you, though, and talk about, really give some details for our listeners on the audio version about these details on here, if you want. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Wham did a really great job in designing this hiker medal. You can see on the front, we have hanging rock, Raptor Observatory on the side. It really looks like it's going to have a nice textured look to it. Then we have the red line of the Allegheny Trail going straight up the top, or middle and bottom up to the top there. Along with, on the right side, we have a tree with a yellow blaze on it, which really gives it a good look to it. And our logo is at the bottom part of it, with a little bit of valley in the background. So I think it's going to look really great when it's done. I'm looking forward to seeing this coming out here.
For sure. And for those of you that aren't familiar with East Coast hiking, the Appalachians are the lungs of planet Earth, believe it or not. And so that hiker medal had our logo is a yellow blaze. So that yellow blaze is going to be etched on an oak tree. So think of those beautiful ornate lines in the bark of an oak tree that keeps the planet healthy and alive. So that was really something new for women. He was actually challenged by putting that together when we had that request. So super excited about that for sure.
Yeah, really cool. And here's a hint. You can get a one-time discount, and I will make sure all of this is in the show notes of the audio version and over on YouTube. If you go to hikermetals.com, your first purchase, you can get a 10% discount if you use the code Jester in all caps, Jester. So take advantage of that and get yourself the Allegheny Trail medal. There's other medals on there as well. I think now Wim has well over 50 medals. He's an amazing small business owner and entrepreneur, and his business is really thriving. So I'm excited about that. But I'm also extremely excited about the Hike the Allegheny Trail trailer that we are showing right this second. And y'all, we will be back and talk about that here shortly.
All the trails I've hiked, the Allegheny Trail, it really stands out to me. It's just such a different experience on those trails, more popular trails.
To me, the Allegheny Trail is a trail you can hike and be as social or as secluded as you want to be.
The Allegheny Trail is truly a way that an individual can come to West Virginia and enjoy the Appalachian Highlands. The mountains in West Virginia and the Appalachian Mountains, period, are just some spectacular. The mountains and the oldest mountains in the world. I mean, they speak for themselves, then they'll speak to you.
And this trail, 300 miles, again, through our most beautiful part of our state, is an opportunity to show the rest of the country what we all know living here in West Virginia of how beautiful this state is.
I think the Allegheny Trail is a good place to have people learn about nature, learn more about themselves, appreciate what they have, appreciate what our natural world offers. Once folks are exposed to the Allegheny Trail, it's going to light up their lives.
Is like a doorway to a whole new world. And if you're enjoying nature, it's the place to go. And you just need a trail to get you there, and that's what it's all about.
The message of the Allegheny Trail is an invitation. Learn about yourself, learn about nature, be human again on the trail with nature. And it's a ton of fun. I mean, let's be real, right? It's a ton of fun.
This is a great place to be. It's a happy place. Come hike it.
All right, we're all back. Nicolle, turn it over to you. What do you think?
Wow. Loved it. Loved it. A lot of memories in that, a lot of heart in that, and excited to showcase. You guys did a great job. I'm excited for people to to have them get excited and enthralled about coming out and checking it out, whether it's a day hike, a couple section hikes, get out there through hiking for sure, but just come and enjoy it, right? Justin, what did you think? We got it for sure. Let me back up 1 minute. Now Charlie's on the screen, our guest for tonight. We're going to dive into her with her in just a minute, but let's take a minute and hear your first impressions, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed really unfolded great. I mean, it seemed like it has a great intro showing off the trail. I mean, the voiceovers while you're hearing talk about the trail, I mean, it seemed to really hold out really good. It connected. I mean, it was great seeing just during the production of it, just seeing just snippets of it here and there and how it came together. It really unfolds. You really show off the Allegheny Trail. So I think it's going to really turn out great. I'm looking forward to the full reveal during the 50th.
Yeah. Charlie, honey, what'd you think?
The scenery where you could see the tops of the mountains was something that I only really saw at Peters Mountain the year that I hiked, because it hadn't been worked on for a while. So I missed some of those really big scenic reveals. So I'm kind of anxious to get back to the trail this fall and see how it's changed since I've been there in 2018.
Fabulous. Julie, you want to say anything about it before we formally introduce Charlie?
Yeah, just real quick. So my business partner and I, Austin Wallace, we own Jester Wallace Productions. We're a very small production company, and it has been fantastic going out and filming in unfamiliar territory. But the most fantastic part about it is meeting the community, getting to interview these people in the community of the Allegheny Trail that have a heart and soul and passion. And I can't reveal it now, but in September, when you guys see the full film, individuals that just in their core bleed the Allegheny Trail. And every single interview that we did, Austin and I, we always have conversations after we leave the interviews, and it is so powerful. It is just so powerful and amazing what a trail could do for your soul. And the one thing that I've learned about the community of the Allegheny Trail, the soul is of the trail. And that's all I'm going to say. And I hope it came out in the trailer that you all just saw. But there is so much more to come. So much more to come. So I'm excited. I'm going to be quiet now, or I could talk all podcast about it. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy what Charlie has to say, because I am excited to hear about your journey on the Allegheny Trail.
Absolutely. And I'll just take 1 minute and introduce y'all. Special guest tonight, Charli Fulton. I'm going to let her tell her story, but I want to just say off the bat, she's an incredible hiker. very accomplished, incredible outdoors person, loves nature. We don't have to go too far into that, but I can just tell you she's one of us through and through, right? She's also a huge supporter, contributor of trails, period. And the Allegheny Trail has been very blessed to have the opportunity to receive some of her generosity, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But without further ado, Charlie Fulton, coming to you from Wisconsin, but a former West Virginian. Once a West Virginian, always a West Virginian, right, Charlie? I call myself a West Virginian in exile. There you go. That a girl. That a girl. Well, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about your journey. Let's kick it off. Basically, when did you start getting involved in backpacking and enjoying nature or hiking and that type of thing?
Well, I have to say, I'm not involved in backpacking. I do not like carrying a pack on my back. So I have done long distance hiking, but mainly through very logistically planned day hikes and supported hikes. Because I did not start distance hiking till I was 67 years old. And I more or less assumed at that age that there was something wrong with my back, because you can't live and use your body for 67 years without putting some wear and tear on it. So I started long distance hiking in 2017 by hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Let's just start a random trail. I mean, I don't know. Let's pick the longest trail. Find a better route.
Well, Charlie, we already have something in common, because I completed my 12-year section hike of the Appalachian Trail in 2017. So I am part of the class of 2017.
Well, maybe we saw each other. Yeah, who knows? But I have always been drawn to long distance things. When I was a hiker, when I was a runner, I wanted to run marathons. And, I've always been drawn to the idea of walking a long way. And one of the things so I had wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail for a really long time. And my husband did not want me to leave for 6 months. He thought that was not a good thing for a married person to do. Well, if your spouse thinks that, that's probably not a good thing to do. But then he up and bailed on me and died. So what I got from him dying was I got my chance to hike the Appalachian Trail, and it was a total life changer for me. I learned so much about myself. I learned that I could do things that absolutely terrified me. I can do things. I can look at a stream to ford and realize this is really dangerous, but I'll make a plan and I'll figure out how to get across. And I'm scared, but I will do it. And really, at 67, you think you would know that about yourself, that you're courageous, but I didn't. And just knowing that you can do things that terrify you is a huge, powerful lesson. And so I thought when I finished hiking the AT, I would be done with it, because that was the goal. But I just really got the bug and wanted to do more. And I had lived in West Virginia. I had lived there 38 years. And I only heard about the Allegheny Trail when I started preparing to hike the AT. I met some people who had been hiking the Allegheny Trail, and even though my husband and I had done a lot of camping in the state parks and we hiked in the state parks, I just never came across the Allegheny Trail. And when I came back from the AT, I thought, well, it'd be a shame to have this 300-mile long trail in your backyard and not hike it. So my next plan was to hike the Allegheny Trail as kind of a farewell to West Virginia, because I had decided I was going to leave and move closer to family. And so I sort of did it as a goodbye tour. And it's such an extraordinary trail. It just reminded me all over again about how wonderful the people in West Virginia are, and what what a treasure trove of wildlife and wildflowers and interesting places and really kind-hearted people. It was really an amazing experience.
Wow, that's fascinating. I appreciate those words of compliment for sure. Charlie, tell us, for our listeners, you started in 2018, the Allegheny Trail, is that correct?
Yes. And I
Okay.
did that when I hiked the Appalachian Trail. I did it with a group, and we had a support van that would meet us at a road crossing at the end of every day. And so we were on a schedule. We walked an average of 15.7 miles a day. And we camped a lot of illegal places because a lot of places along the road are not legal. But it allowed us to leave our camping gear and equipment in the van, and all we had to carry was a day pack. So I never had to carry more than about 10 pounds or so, like your snacks and your rain gear and your little first aid kit and water.
Ultra lightweight.
So part of what was different about the Allegheny Trail was there are parts that cannot be done that way. So my plan was to hike it, and I got out my maps. I made myself an itinerary, and I put where I was going to go, like how many miles, and driving directions of where to leave my car. And so my friend Arlene from California came, and another of my AT buddies, and we had 2 cars, and we would position the car at the end point, and then we would start out and hike to that point. And at the end of the day, we'd go back and get the other car and move it forward, and we would camp somewhere near where the end point was. Pretty often there were campgrounds. We stealth camped a few places, but there were some nights we really did have to backpack. And that was harder because I'm not used to carrying 30 pounds. But we stayed in a wonderful shelter, and I can't remember which one it was. I remember we got in kind of late. It was the same day I saw this amazing bright blue crawdad. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and there was a huge full moon, and it was shining right in the shelter, like smack into the shelter. It was so lovely, and it was so dark there, and so you could see the Milky Way. I mean, it was so really beautiful. And the blue crawdad you see up on the screen is the most amazing wildlife I've seen in any of my hikes. I mean, I probably would have walked up past this and not noticed it because I thought it was trash. And then one of the people that was hiking with me that day said, "Look at this." And we all bent over and looked at it because I thought it was like a kid's toy. It looks plastic. I mean, and it was a real crawfish. I mean, crayfish, crawdad, whatever. And I mean, I was just blown away. And this was just on a rail trail. It was it was near Glady. It was on a
West Fork Rail Trail?
Pardon?
Was it the West Fork Rail Trail?
Yes. Yeah, that was it. It was right. Yeah, we walked out of Glady onto this rail trail, and the trail's a little bit higher up, and there is a ditch with water in it, and there was this little guy there.
Interesting.
And I had lived in West Virginia a really long time. I'd never seen a bear. I saw bears on this trail. We saw copperheads, and we saw black snakes and luna moths, and we heard coyotes at night. There were albino deer that we saw that hung out at the lodge at Canaan. I mean, we just saw some amazing wildlife because there's not very many people, and so I saw probably 6 or 8 bears. And in 37 years of being in the woods of West Virginia, I'd never seen a single one up till then. So it was just an amazing experience.
Fantastic. And you talk about your courage. You talk about what you learn about yourself and the strength, the empowerment, and the capacity to dive inward and appreciate nature on a whole nother level. A really fascinating journey for you. Let's talk for a little bit about when you saw that bear, and you've never seen one before. Adrenaline rush, fear, flight, whip out your phone, excitement. What was that like? Because I know a lot of people go through the spectrum immediately of fight or flight, what's going to happen.
The ones I saw were never very close, so I was never afraid. And black bears aren't aggressive, so I'm not really afraid of them. I'm really more afraid of, I'm afraid of cold. Afraid of cold and getting Lyme disease. I'm not afraid of animals because they're they're mostly not aggressive. And I really wouldn't like to come up on a snake by surprise without, on the AT, I walked past a copperhead and then saw it curling up and in alarm. And I was like, oh no, that's not a good way to see a snake. But
Well, that's great. So the wildlife through there.
Luna moths and whippoorwills at night and raccoons and red-spotted Fs and really, really, and all amazing amount of wildflowers. West Virginia is just rich with wildflowers because it has a lot of the southern ones. It has a lot of the northern ones too. So it just has a zillion wildflowers. So if you like nature, it is your trail.
That's great. What challenges did you have while you were hiking the trail? Because I know in 2018, I know the trail wasn't near the maintenance level as it is now. So I'm curious to see your experience hiking it. Because I was involved with the trail around 2020, so I didn't experience that before.
Yeah, I think the trail has had a huge boost of people working on it and maintaining it since then. When I hiked it, I think that very many people in West Virginia knew about it. In fact, the first day I hiked from the northern terminus, part of that hike, the first day, you walk down a dirt country road through some land that's, I don't know that it's farmland, but it's not, it's just sparsely populated. And we were hiking down in the morning and a guy looked up from his front yard. He was working on his garden. And he looked at my friend Sharon and I and said, so are you guys some kind of athletes? And I said, we're hiking the Allegheny Trail, which is on this road here. And he'd never heard of it. And so I was, I guess I wasn't very surprised because, I hadn't heard of it until the previous year. So, but I really think that it's had a huge boost in visibility in the years since 2018.
And one of those things is
there were places there had been a derecho maybe 1 or 2 years earlier. I really can't remember when it was, but to get from into the town of Glady, just north of Glady, there was a place where the derecho had come through and torn up all these trees. And it took us, we had been planning to hike 18 miles that day. And but my friend didn't want to go that far. And I realized, and really it was really good that we broke it down into 2 days because the 9 miles we hiked took us 7 hours to do because there were so many trees that were down and so many of the trees that had the blazes painted on them that were down that for one thing, you're having to go around and and climb over and through and under trees. But also you have to try to figure out where the trail is when the trees with the blazes are not there anymore. So there were several places where the trail was almost impossible to follow. So there was another day we had to bail out. One day we were hiking,
and I'm just going to chime in for 1 second. For our listeners who don't know what a derecho is, that is straight line winds, 80 plus miles an hour, typically is what I've understood that being.
I was going to say the listeners and Jester.
Okay, listeners and Jester. But it's really severe. That, for example, our capital in Charleston at the time, I believe was, and Charlie, chime in here because I know you may have been down there at the time, but I believe that was without power and some places water for over 3 weeks. And a lot of these straight line winds, man, they hit those mountains and they just shredded things like matchsticks. Yeah. It was unreal. Really devastating for our state.
Yeah.
And
There's still
there
a
was
lot of evidence of it on the trail. Even now, you can see where we've cut out the blowdown from it. And I mean, I know that second and Glady that you're talking about, because there's still, there's a cut straight through a lot of trees just stacked on top of each other. So I can imagine how much struggle it was through there, because I can see the evidence of it. I mean, there's a lot of sections where that derecho hit that, I mean, you would have just had to climb straight up and over, because there was hardly any place to go left or right of the trees.
Yeah, I mean, and then there was another place where part of the hillside had fallen in. It was something that was part of the trail. It was built on a railroad bed, and the rock ledge that the railroad had been on broke away from the mountain and fell into the Glady Fork River. And my friend and I got to this place, and we had the instructions with us. There wasn't an app at the time, so there wasn't any far out app to follow. So we were looking. We had the maps with us, and we had the directions that describe where you're supposed to be, and we got there, and we saw that there was a rope, and the directions said you're supposed to go down and hike through the water. And it was October by then, because we'd had some logistical issues and we hadn't been able to hike straight through. And I really didn't want to hike through the water because I really couldn't see from where you would go in the water. I couldn't see around the edge of the rock to see where you went, and I wasn't going to get in the water and not know where I'm going. So we tried to use the rope to pull ourselves up to the next ledge. And my friend gave me a boost, and I was able to pull myself up by some bushes that were pretty solidly anchored. And I got up on that ledge, and I could scramble across to the other side. But my friend, she could not pull herself up without someone to give her a boost. And we spent an hour there at that place, which I've seen the pictures on the website now and on the Facebook page, and it's like beautifully redone. I mean, and we spent an hour there. And, finally I said, Sharon, if we fall and hit our head on these rocks, we're going to be seriously hurt. We should turn around and go back to the car. So we turned around, and the next day, so this was the last section I had left to do. And the next day we came in and from the other side and hiked north. And we hiked north till we got to the same section we'd gotten the day before and finished it that way. But there was no way that was, it would have been passable in the summer. But there were lots of really difficult places. And one night, my friend Bill and I got stuck overnight when we hadn't planned to stay out overnight. And we ended up staying out with just our space blankets and our ponchos, our rain ponchos. And that was an adventure it was not really on my bucket list. Let's put it that way. And it was from our own sheer stupidity. We got to a place where the map looked like the trail followed right alongside the Glady Fork River, like right by the embankment, it looked like. And it wasn't passable through there. And so we thought, well, maybe it goes through the river. And we hiked a long way through the river. And it was very slow going, and parts were deep. And I fell over and like almost got my phone wet. So I thought, well, put that in a higher place. And we hiked and hiked and hiked. And finally it was 7:00, and it was, I think it was around September. So there weren't very many more hours of daylight. And we said, well, we're not going to make it there. We knew that our end point was his truck was parked at a bridge across this river. So we thought, well, we'll just walk through the river till we get there. Well, there was no walking through the river. And we finally ended up, he said, I'm going to go around the next corner. And I said, well, don't go more than 15 minutes. And so he came back and said, I don't see the bridge. So we basically laid our ponchos on the ground, and I had 2 space blankets, and we laid there overnight. It was 60 degrees and it rained all night. We got totally drenched.
Charlie, we need to do a film just on your tour of the Allegheny Trail. Like, you're like my hero. Climb it up.
It's like way more. And, I saw, like, I'm a badass. I hiked the whole Appalachian.
That's right. That's right.
Got up to the top of Mount Katahdin. How hard can this trail be? And it's like, it can be plenty hard. Part of what I looked from this trail was, don't disrespect any trail thinking it's going to be easy, because they're not easy. I mean, it wasn't hard because you had to climb up rocks, but there were parts that were a challenge to find the trail. And so and then I came the next year and hiked the Ice Age Trail in Wisconsin, which was flat as a pancake. And I thought, how hard can that be? Well, it had its own challenge. How hard that could be was like you put on your pants to pee, and there's 50 mosquitoes on you by the time you pull your pants back up.
Okay.
It's pretty bad. Challenge. I should have never disrespected it by saying, how hard can a flat trail be?
Sure.
So I think I had a lot more adventures than you had to have on this trail, partly due to stupidity and partly because it wasn't in very good shape at the time. And I really think that's changed a lot since then. And I'm kind of looking forward to going on some parts of it.
Well, we're excited to have you come check it out. For sure, Justin, you said you got involved in 2020, so 4 years.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Charlie? I was just going to say Justin's been involved for...
I can't hear you.
Charlie, can you hear me? I wonder if Charlie has muted herself for some reason.
I can try to text her real quick.
Yeah. So I think you were saying that Justin was coming in at 2020, and I'm going to switch it back over here. Charlie might chime back in here in a second, but
mute.
Yeah, she's back. I think she was on mute.
Oh, I got you. All right, we're going to bring Charlie back. Charlie, we just need to be able to see you now. See, y'all, this is what happens when you go live, it records. So you never know with our wonderful technology and the internet. But I think you were going to ask Justin something about 2020.
Yeah, so Justin's been involved.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you. We just can't see you.
Can you hear us? Charlie?
I muted Charlie.
Okay.
Charlie's gone. All right, so we are back.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, the good news is on the audio, I'll take all this out. Nobody will even know. So there you go.
Exactly. So I was just going to say with Justin, Charlie's story is fantastic. It's a journey of growth. It's a journey of recruiting and getting more people involved and sharing what the trail offers and having people be magnetized to come and be a part of the trail. Like Julie said.
I still can't hear you.
Charlie, can you hear me? All right, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna flip back over here, and
earbuds out.
we may need to send her a text or something. I'm not sure what's going on.
So we'll just pick up right here. And so, ready? So since Charlie's been on her journey in the last 6 years, there have been shelters, and Justin helped me chime in here. There have been shelters added. There have been thousands of blazes added. There's been countless, literally thousands of hours of volunteering when it comes to chainsawing, when it comes to clearing trail, kiosks, trailheads. What am I leaving out, Justin?
You got bridges with the Daniel Street Bridge. That was a major accomplishment. I mean, the Forest Service was extremely impressed by what we did there. So that's going to open up doors in the future. They know we're able to handle these projects now. So there's a lot more stuff that's in the works that, it's going to keep on improving and getting better every year.
And the big one is we're on Far Out now. I mean, come on, right?
Yep.
So that is a huge addition to navigation, being on the Far Out app. And Charlie, can you hear us now? No. So, well, here, I don't think she can hear us, y'all, but here's what I want to say. Charlie has also been a fabulous contributor, sponsor, a donor for the Allegheny Trail. And one of the things that's going to be in our next episode is because of Charlie. It's very exciting. We will say a couple things about it real quick, but on May 10th is our next episode. It's going to be with Heidi Nesbitt from Sketching Summits, who's a fantastic illustrator and artist and thru hiker, super talented. Julie, would you like to say a little bit about your involvement in Safe and Found with Miss Heidi?
Yeah, so you guys have heard me say this on here before. My partner and I, Austin, our business, Jester Productions, we produced a film titled Safe and Found, all about hiker safety, preventative search and rescue, and what it's like to work on a search and rescue team in your local area. And Heidi fantastically not only created the thumbnails for the film and the trailer, but she also created 10 separate pieces of art that we digitized and added to the film. So Heidi not only is an exceptional artist, but she is also an exceptional digital artist. And I know for an artist, it's hard to do both, and most people don't. So she can do digital art. She paints fantastic murals, hand paintings, and I'm not an artist and I don't know all the technical terms, but I am excited to hear her live on the next episode. But by the time this episode comes out, you guys will be able to go back either on your podcast app or on YouTube and watch that episode if you haven't done so already. So I'm excited about that.
So true, so true. And we're blessed to have Heidi involved. And y'all, I forgot the order, so this will be great. I'm excited for y'all to hear what that's all about too. But, trails don't maintain themselves. We talk about that. Here's an opportunity for someone like Charlie who hiked it, who saw the vision of artwork, who has had the opportunity to be generous to this trail and is excited about the vision, like her vision, right, to help the trail grow in a multitude of capacities and to help reach other people that aren't necessarily already involved in the outdoor world or have the capacity to come and enjoy nature as much. They're going to have an opportunity now because of Charlie's vision and generosity. And so as we begin to close this episode out, we thank y'all for listening. I'm going to turn it over to Justin for a second and let him kind of close us out if he has any last minute thoughts.
Yeah, it was really great listening to Charlie's stories from hiking in 2018. It's just like Handlebar episode that we had. I was only been part of the trail in 2020, so listening to stories of people earlier than that and their experiences on trail is really great. And I mean, with I mean, with what Charlie's helped us with doing and going forward, I mean, it's great to have her on here, and really enjoyed listening to her.
Yep. Well said. Well, y'all, until next time, we will be catching up with you soon. Super happy trails, super safe hiking, and have a great day.